Hey everybody, welcome to my home studio. Welcome to the first of many weekly videos about the practices of Hatha Raja Yoga. Very excited to share some of these teachings that we work on each week in class structures, but also for people who I don't get to meet in person and are interested in the philosophies of yoga and how it can help one move in the world in a little bit more of a vibrant and connected way. And utilizing these pieces of knowledge give you the opportunity to deepen your own practice and find those practical ways of letting the philosophy guide you into more harmonious mental movements and ways of being in the world. So for this first video, I'm really interested in just giving a brief explanation about how the 8 limbs of Raja Yoga or Royal Yoga begin to all work together systematically to achieve the goals of yoga. So let's start there. The goal of yoga, or the focus of yoga, is the nature of a state of yoga. Yoga is not exercises, but yoga is a state of connection, a state of union, which the word means in Sanskrit. So when you create yoga, or you yoke together the individual consciousness, the small consciousness, the individual, with a collective consciousness or a divine consciousness, that is the state of yoga. And that can look many ways. It doesn't mean that you have to be doing a yoga posture or yoga technique, but you might just be walking down the street and there is the level of connection. You may be having a conversation and in harmony, in union with the individual consciousness and the collective consciousness. So the state of yoga is the goal. We're trying to achieve a continuous state of yoga where no longer is the mind separating one from their truest nature, the true and absolute self or spirit. When we find that connection, however we find that connection, we are at the goal, and that is the state that we wish to continue to move within, and that's how you create the vibrancy. But back to the original point, we're looking at a royal path, Raja, R-A-J-A, the royal path of yoga. There are 8 limbs of yoga, and it's very interesting because in modern yoga we're so focused on asana, the postures of yoga, which is a limb. It's the 3rd limb of this 8-limbed path. But when we don't expand the awareness beyond just this individual limb into the other aspects of the practice, we limit the actual potency of the techniques. One of my teachers is adamantly focused on the 1st limb of yoga, yama, which means restriction or restraint. And the first of those qualities within the yamas is ahimsa, non-harming. So if you start to think first, before you even do any poses or techniques or breathing, but you think about the qualities of non-harming, things begin to change, because now you're taking an accountability on a moral level for how you're moving in the world. So it might change the foods you choose to eat. It might change how you think about other people. Because even the unseen thoughts within our mind create energy. Okay? They create a vibration. Even if they're not acted upon, they never leave the confines of the brain and the skull. They still create a ripple, an energetic vibration. So ahimsa has to extend beyond just actions, but into thoughts as well. If you meditate and focus your life around non-harming and compassion, you can again arrive at the state of yoga. You've never done a warrior 1 posture, but still you arrive at the state of yoga. The goal is accomplished. The goal of union, of realizing a divine connection, the seed of the soul within the individual connected to the divine energy. So just one of the limbs can be a full pathway to yoga. Then we get into the further limbs beyond asana. So we have yamas, the niyamas, the restraints and the observances. Then we have the asanas, the postures, and then we start to move into this limb called pranayama. Prana being energy, the vital energy, the base unit of energy of the world. Yama, again, back like the first limb, is restraint or restriction or control. So controlling the prana, pranayama. What a powerful word to begin to work with. So pranayama can be breathing techniques, different techniques that we have in that regard, but it can also be an extension of how we work within the asana. So if you practice asana and you start to learn how to concentrate into the subtle aspects of your poses, you begin to expand the energy within specific lines, nadis within the body, and then you start to expand the energy within your shape. So the physical will expand as the energetic body expands. Then you can also tap into what does it mean to control and take energy into the body. So we think of that we gain our energy through food, but we also gain our energy through breathing. So how you breathe within your yoga practice makes a huge difference, but it also is how do you breathe throughout your day? How do you breathe when there are stressors or challenges? How do you breathe when you're having enjoyment? So we take in food, we take in breath, we take in sunlight. And then we take in all other forms of energy. The vibration of people or places, consciousness, more divine energy, and earth energy, all of the vibration from the physical earth. So you start to see how this isn't just a linear, do a bunch of poses, do a bunch of breathing techniques. This becomes an integration of how we utilize energy. The 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th limb are all about how we then draw the awareness inwards to harness this focus. 5th, withdrawal of senses. 6th, concentration. 7th, meditation. 8th, bliss or absorption. So as you look at these limbs, you start to see the whole path laid out in front of you. The yogi has to seek the self in the solitude of inner meditation. There's no other way to achieve this. You have to start to experience the inner intricacies as refined of awareness as we do with the outside world. If we spend all day with the eyes open, looking out to the physical world, we won't find the inner serenity that leads to the state of yoga. So when you start to look at Raja Yoga and the path of Hatha Yoga within this 8-limbed path, you start to see this beautiful map laid out in front of you. You begin to realize that with the work of drawing energy within, living in grounded moral principles, success in yoga is bound to happen when the time is right. So don't get lost in just what's presented in modern yoga. There's a lot of depth, and we can access it when we start to realize the true teachings of these practices. So thank you so much for watching one of these 5-minute yoga philosophy videos. Come and keep checking in on this page, like the page and subscribe if you like, and have beautiful practices. Om Namah Shivaya, Namaste.